Record, connecting. We are now recording. All right. Look no further. The topic of your next speech dwells inside of you. What? Inside me, you ask? You gotta be crazy. Okay, Susie admits there might be some truth to that statement, but she is sure of the first statement. Today, she is, by demonstration, going to show us how to tap into our story reserves. You will be amazed what you will find there. Please help me welcome Suezy Proctor as she shares Story Reserves, an educational moment.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Well, I looked at our schedule this morning and I saw we had some room for a second speaker. And thinking about our open house that we're going to have January 30th, where I'll be the speaker on speech development, I thought I'd take that second speech today to plant a few seeds before that event, because I was going through my paperwork for that speech and I came across two things I'm not going to use in that speech, but I could certainly lay it on you this morning. And this is the fact that we all have stories to tell. And a lot of you think, oh, no, I don't have a story to tell. Or you just don't think that your stories are interesting enough. But I'm going to get right down to it. And I'm going to show you that, yes, in fact, you do have resources to develop a list of topics that you could talk about. Now, we're all Toastmasters, so we're all over 18 years of age. And you don't have to be 18 to have a job, but by this time you should have a resume, right? And what do resumes do? Resumes tell you where you were, doing what, with whom. And it might flash a memory. Did you quit? Were you promoted? Were you fired? Was the company closed? Those kinds of things can bring up stories from that experience. Now, also that we're 18 and over, most of you drive. You own a car, and you could think about your first car, your worst car, your best car, and your dream car. My only car for 33 years was a 1969 Volkswagen Bug until I decided it was time to get an adult car. So there are stories to be told in the cars that you have owned. Now, I'm a girl, and there's probably men watching this too. So think about the men and women in your life, the important ones, the not so important ones, the ones you'd love to forget, the ones you'd love to hate but can't. How about your mentors, your siblings, your uncle, your grandpa, your papa, whatever? I always gravitate for some reason to strong women mentors myself. When I think about people who have impacted my life, that's where they go. But you have a long list of people there that you can tap from. Think about your school teachers and things like that as well. Now, another thing that we all have in common is that we grew up in a house or an apartment, some kind of dwelling. And chances are most of us have moved, right? I've moved several times. So I have addresses in 11 states. And I have 2 addresses from just here in Madison, Alabama. But think where you were born, where you grew up, where you went to school, where you moved to. How did you feel when you moved? Did you like your new place? Who did you leave behind? Have you stayed in touch with those people? Also, where would you like to live in the future? Now, I know the More Vacations lady would like to live on a beach somewhere. You think about where you'd like to live. Now, we talked about resumes, but we really didn't get down to the nitty-gritty of your jobs. What exactly did you do? So when you're thinking about the jobs that you have to go way back. I mean, way back. What did you do for allowance? Did you mow the lawn? Did you babysit? Did you have a lemonade stand? Did you wash cars? And then think about your first job where you got a legitimate paycheck. And what did you go out and buy with it? Think about your job that you had that you wanted so bad you could taste it. And finally, it was yours. And what did you do with it? And are you still doing that? Or what are you going to do next? So your job history is rife with stories, especially relationship stories. We also all grew up with music. We may have grown up in a different era and have different genres we gravitate to, right? But what did you grow up with? Who? I grew up with the Beatles. In fact, I saw the Beatles in Seattle when they came to Seattle the first time, and it was quite an experience. I didn't want to hold their hand, though. I wasn't really that into them at the time. But think about the genres you like, what kind of music you like to listen to when you get home from work, or what kind of music do you like when you want to work out, things like that. And how about art? How about art? Just peruse your home and think about the art that you have hanging on your wall. Why did you pick that art? What did that art say to you? Where did you find it? Did you know the artist? What's the history behind the art? It doesn't have to be a painting either. It could be an object that sits on a table or on the bookshelf. Now, speaking of bookshelves, books. Okay, my husband didn't start reading books until he was an adult. I mean, he read the books that you had to read to get out of high school, right? But he never read books for pleasure. Now you can't break him away from a book. And his topic is world military history. And he has volumes, and he could stay days in every page of those books. But what kind of books turned you on to reading? What are you reading now? What's the next book on your list? Do you give books for gifts? I do. All of these topics, and still there's more. Yes, there's more. Think about collections. Everybody I know collects something, at least one thing. And to give you an example, I'm not one of those people. I collect a lot of different things. For example, I've collected antique gasoline blowtorches for many years. I collected buttons, over 400,000 of them, and sold them to a buyer in one fell swoop. I collect dehydrated, 100-plus-year-old dried bullfrogs that are stuffed with papers from the 1800s. Yes, there's a story or three to tell in that situation. So think about the things that you collect. There's a story for us to hear. Also, hobbies. What do you do for fun? Do you run? Do you hike? Do you quilt? Do you tat? What do you do? Do you photograph? Do you knit? What is your thing to do? Or maybe you have several. Whatever those hobbies are, fishing, Toastmastering, gardening, home decorating. Boy, that can set you back $1 or two. But that's a hobby for a lot of people. They like to keep their homes current. Also, you could think about any miscellaneous story that doesn't filter into these topic ideas. We all have them. I drove at night on an empty road heading from Idaho border to Las Vegas, Nevada in the dark in a 1974 Triumph Spitfire convertible, and I had the hard top down. And as I'm driving in this heat, it's 104 degrees at night, all I see is the white line dividing the two-lane highway in front of me until I got out of town. And then all I saw were eyes, millions of jackrabbits who come out of the desert to warm up on the asphalt. And so I wouldn't, wipe them out. and I'm 5 inches off the ground. I swear when they stood up and looked at me, I was looking eye to eye. No lie, I'm not exaggerating, but I didn't want to hit any, so I went beep, 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 and I was like, just had it in idle. It was just chugging forward. I don't know how long it would have taken me to get to Las Vegas doing that, but soon after I've gotten maybe 5 miles, a big triple trailer truck came by and sort of cleared the road for me. That's a weird story. Everybody has weird stories. They really, truly do. They say, well, nobody wants to hear that. Yes, we do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that when you take a look at this list after you've compiled all of these ideas, you are going to see that you do have much to share with us in the way of storytelling. And I look forward now to seeing you signing up on our agenda in the next coming weeks to fill up these speaker slots. Madam Toastmaster.
Well, Susie, thank you so much. You have now erased all excuses. So everyone will be upset, but energized and informed. And now we can get on the schedule and talk about the treasure trove that you've just discovered within us. So thank you so very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shantine.